Welcome back to part 1 of the online class. You are now watching screencast 2. We're going to discuss the synthesis of the student's writing. As we think about this, we want to take into account all of their strengths and next steps around both content and language. In this section, we don't want to write everything down here. What we want to do is narrow and think about what would give us the most bang for our buck as we conference and continue work with this student. So in this case, I would share a strength with the student around content in the sense that he showed some initial comprehension. It is impressive that he demonstrates some beginning understanding in such a complex text. A next step for the student would be to consistently use the text to justify his understandings. He does attempt to do this, but needs to do so with more detail, with understanding the difference between his background knowledge and the text itself, and by making sure that the details he's adding are clear and are connected to the inference that he's making. Around language, I would share with him that he is doing a great job at compound sentences. A next step for him would be to continue to develop his ideas when he's writing. He needs to work on expanding his writing and being clear, as well as including details. Now, let's take a look at supports to help him as a writer, as a language learner, and as a thinker. I'm going to refer to the WIDA supports. You can find these on RG20 in your WIDA resource guide. I want to think through sensory, graphic, and interactive supports for this student. A graphic support for this student would be to think about having him prep for his response using something like a bubble map. It could include 2 to 3 specific aspects of his ideas. This could also be used in conjunction with the interactive support that we'll discuss in just a moment. A sensory support idea would give him chunks of text as we work through them together. He might have a highlighter to find important developments and characters in the story, or to note important details or events that he wants to use to justify his inference. With the chunk text, a great interactive support would be orally rehearsed and summarize the most important developments in the story. He could work with a partner or with his teacher. Then he would be able to refer to this preparation when looking for supporting evidence and reading responses. After this, we'd want to synthesize our own thinking and learning about our student in the reflection section. Now it's your turn. Begin drafting or revising your evaluation of assessment number 3. This would be your first writing assessment that you gave on your case study student. Be sure to think about content and language and a thorough depiction of what the student is able to do and what they should be able to do next to develop their language and content understandings. Pause this screencast to begin this work. After doing some drafting on your own piece, and after thinking about what you have learned through this screencast on how to evaluate a student's writing, answer these questions under Section 1 on the Reflection Guide. You can find the Reflection Guide on D2L under the online class. You will want to draw your attention to Section 1, Analyzing Language, Writing. Please discuss something you learned from watching the model of analyzing and evaluating the writing assessment, and note any questions you might have about this process. Pause the screencast now to work on this. Now we're ready for part 2, Assessment Strategies and Supports. For this section, please read Fairbairn Chapter 2 and review the Supports section from WIDA. Use the graphic organizer to reflect on your learning. This graphic organizer can be found under Section 2 on the same reflection template that you used just a moment ago to reflect on the writing assessment. You are being asked to think about some general assignments and assessment strategies, why they're important, and how you might begin to employ them in your own classroom. As you continue on in this reflection, we would like you to also discuss the WIDA supports, what you already use in your assessments, What things would you like to start including that maybe you don't? Then we would like you to try a support on an assessment and write a brief reflection on what you noticed your student was able to do as a result. Finally, at the end, synthesize both of the text, Fairbairn and WIDA supports. Discuss the connections you see and any reflections for your case study student. Also, be sure to note at the end how this session supported you in your learning, and give us feedback on how we might improve future online sessions. Before the next class, be sure to check the syllabus and what to bring and accomplish before coming.